Hello, everybody. Welcome to Abnormal Investigations. We're on a little earlier than we normally are, so we wanted to try going on a little earlier to see if that was a little easier for people. We're going to take a deep dive into a subject tonight that I think kind of expresses my opinion and theories on where these creatures come from, what they are, and how they have made it to where they are now in our world of the cryptids. Before we get into that, though, I got a few announcements to make, and I got a few thank yous for everybody, and we'll bring Jesse in here for sure. And that way, I'll have somebody to throw under the bus if something happens. It's never good to be solo, guys. You always got to have somebody to throw under the bus. You'll learn that as you do this because you're attacked daily. So you always got to have somebody to take one for the team. Um, I'll go ahead and let's throw her in here real quick before we get into everything. There we go.
Hello, good evening. Yeah, nice to know I'm the scapegoat.
Well, I promised everybody I'd be throwing you under the bus.
Yeah.
I think I even told you that too.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm used to it.
Yeah, I know how that feels. Um, have a very, 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 very important announcement to make tonight. It is the most important announcement of the year. Um, Today is Hunter's 12th birthday. I want you to know, Hunter, that I love you so very much. I miss you more than anything in the world. You've always been the best part of me, and you always will be. I miss you every day. You are a part of me. We have a bond that is unbreakable, and we will make up the days we have missed. That is for sure. God's hand is moving. We serve an awesome God, and justice will be served. So, as for right now, buddy, I love you. I'm proud of you. You are a very intelligent young man. You've always been a smart young man. And I'm ready for the day we're reunited so that we can continue our adventures and our plans. But happy 12th birthday. 12 is a big number. It's going to be a real big number for you. And we're all proud of you. So happy birthday, guy. I love and miss you.
Happy birthday, Hunter.
Yeah, he's a big boy today. A really
Yep.
big boy. Uh, with that being said, I'll probably wish him another happy birthday later as the chat fills up. Um, Sarah is in the chat, I believe. I have not heard back from her today, but I do know that she was expecting a phone call back from the place that we are trying to get into to do the boots on the ground. I don't know if she heard anything today. So, Sarah, you could let us know in chat if you've heard anything. Um, we're trying to get that set up really, really fast. That's right, Pam. God is in control. Thank God he's been in control. He's been in control
Mhm.
since the very first of all these lies.
Yep.
Uh, it's it's sad. It really is. It's sad. Um, let's see. We're going to do a call out of everybody. I forgot to do that last time. A lot of people said that I forgot to do the call outs of everybody. So let's start out with thanking the trolls tonight for joining us. Your views always count, and we appreciate that every time we buy new equipment or something for the channel. So thank you so very much for being there. I would like to thank our moderators for showing up tonight. We have the best moderators out there on YouTube. You guys are very, very much appreciated, and you know, we couldn't do it without you guys. You guys are all part of this. Thank you, Jesse, for being here tonight. Co-host makes it so much easier to do. She does both co-host, moderates, and she goes back and explores things and tries to find things to put out fires for us. So that helps. I don't know how much longer she's going to be able to do that because congratulations to Jessie. She has found a job.
Yes, and I have some news as far as that goes too. I will be starting on Monday.
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 So see, you're putting me in a bind now.
It's
That's what
it's okay. The hours are going to be fine, so I can still continue to help out.
will be good. We will survive. With that, ain't that a
Mhm.
song? We will survive.
Yeah.
Uh, our next boots on the ground will be Sunday at 6 p.m. We're going to try a Sunday and see how that turns out. I think that's going to be a unique night to go out boots on the ground. I think it may work out for us really, really good. Thank you, Shirley, for that. Um, he is the birthday boy of the day. Um, Now, I'm going to thank all of my subscribers and everybody, moderators, whoever. Now, Jesse, this is going to blow your mind. So, everybody knows that we have put out merchandise. So I'm like a terrible designer, but I must have done okay.
Yeah.
I put out a new beanie today too. I don't know if you've seen it or not yet, but I did drop a new beanie with our what's going to be, I think, our new design, and our new design really rocks too. By the way, Sarah created that, and it's on a beanie, so it'll be the first thing that's got the first new design on it. But this, I went into the store tonight to check it out to see how everything was done and to see if I needed to delete anything or try to revamp on it a few things. And we probably still need to. Uh, if you have not got a Halloween limited edition shirt, they will be ending soon. So they will never come back. That is a one time deal. It was just for the Halloween night. Uh, now I'm going to tell y'all what we've done. Jana says, "Congratulations on your new job, Jesse."
Thank you, Jana.
I just can't picture you riding on the back of a trash truck. I'm still trying to get used to it.
Very funny.
But you've broken the golden rule.
What's that?
You got a job, so I don't know how you can
Oh,
still be part of this team. But I don't
I'm
know.
like Wonder Woman. I can multitask just fine.
Yeah, but having a job, we really don't like jobs around here. We like to, live off the government. That's what everybody says. Um, but anyways, guys, I really want to thank you guys, and I'm going to tell you, I went into the store today. Here is the numbers. I try to be transparent with everybody on everything. So let me get this off here just real quickie. All right. The hoodies that I made that I was afraid didn't look the best, but hey, this is our first line of stuff. So that I was told today that could be why it's selling because it is the first stuff, and you always want. Excuse you, Kaylee. That always is the first stuff. Okay. On our hoodies, this is 1 month sales, guys. 1 month, 30 days. We have sold 31 hoodies. We have sold 15 hats. We have sold 23 pairs of my socks you did not like. We have sold 42 t shirts. We've sold 15 pairs of slides. We have sold 28 stickers. We have sold 54 coffee mugs.
Wow.
And our number one selling item, the Halloween limited edition shirt from the walk we done that night, is 63 sold, and they are still updating to see where we're at. So
Wow.
that's where we're at.
Very important.
So the merchandise is looking really, 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 really well. I talked to Logan a little bit today, and he said, "Well, Mike, it looks like you're going to be able to get me and Hunter those dirt bikes, aren't you?" We will see. They have a huge surprise coming, but you know what it is, but we can't. I'm not going to say because we don't want to blow that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where we're at on that right now, guys. Everything is trending. Everything's got the arrow up, so it shows we're still selling what we have in the store. So I appreciate that. I'm hoping the beanie does good that I dropped tonight. Honestly, the beanie is probably one of my favorite things. The beanie does look really good because I designed it. Well, Sarah made the design. I guess I put it
Yeah.
on the material. We'll
Yep.
give her a little bit of credit there.
I'll have to check it out.
It's really nice. It's like top of the line, guys. It is the best. It, it won't keep your head too warm, and it won't keep it too cool. It'll keep it just right no matter where you're at. It's perfect. Was there anything else we wanted to announce tonight? I don't think we have. I don't think we have anything else. Unless you got something you'd like to say
Nope. No.
before we jump right into the subject.
No, I am good.
All right, Lori Clark is in here tonight. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pam. There's the wolf lady is in here. Trying to throw her up there if I can. Looks like you're really cooking cornbread, Amen. Yep, we're cooking. We're cooking the cornbread. Uh, Keeps going like that. We're gonna have steak with cornbread. But thank you all so much for that. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Romans. Good to see everybody. And I know y'all are ready for us to dive into this subject tonight. I've got a notebook and an iPad full of information that I've been looking at. So
I am ready.
I guess I'm going to start it out by saying this before we get into this subject. On abnormal investigations, and we about forgot to talk about this. On abnormal investigations, we welcome spirited debate. I think spirited debate is good. It's a way to learn, to grow, to get new ideas. What we don't like is troublemakers and people that come in that try to cause drama. And we're starting to get a few of those in our lives. And the sad thing is that a few of those people are some of our longtime people. But if you continue to do that, we're not. It won't be tolerated. I'm just letting you know. You will be removed. Um, I now have some more technical people on my team that are know how to do a lot of computer stuff, so we can see where you're going and where you're coming from and what you may be up to. So just letting you know up front, to be honest. We have some really good computer tech people. Jessie is one of those. She knows how to do a few things. Um, but tonight, what we're going to be talking about is going to be our interpretation, our theories, and our opinions. I'm not telling everybody in the chat that what I'm going to say tonight is factual. I'm not going to tell everybody that what I'm saying tonight is absolutely true and how I believe it. All I'm going to tell you tonight is we're going to have a discussion and we're going to give our opinions, our theories, and what we believe could have been. Because I don't, first and foremost, I don't want to lead anybody down the wrong road when it comes to biblical text. I don't want to be the person that takes you the wrong way. I don't want to do that. That would be the last thing I would ever want to do. You know, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you the anal knocky is the only way to go. Um, the Lord Jesus Christ is my Savior. He created me in His image. I wasn't created by some being, you know, that came from the, I guess, Uranus, if they're anal knockies, would be my guess, because He said they came from space. So they kind of go together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, that's just what, that's just my thoughts. Um, so getting into, and what I'll do is I think getting into these creatures that we're dealing with, I think I'm gonna change some things because I'm native myself. I have a lot of native family. I respect native culture, of course. That's my people. That's who I came from.
Mm-hmm.
I have to agree with them. I don't like the word dog man.
I don't like it either.
Um, it's hard to swallow for me. Um, it almost sounds like a made up child name for like a cartoon or something to me, and it's never really fit well.
Well, it technically is. There, it is a cartoon.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Well, guys, it sucks to be this good, but it just it doesn't set right with me. Good to see you, Drew. Drew, good to have you with us. Um, uh, Thank you, the blood stained
Yeah,
Wu Tang Sword of War.
that's a mouthful.
My glasses. I had part bifocal and part regular. I was like, what? I was reading like half and half. But it just doesn't feel right. Um, what would you call them? Me and Jesse discussed. Even the word werewolf is still a relatively new term.
Yeah, and Rougarou, like Lisa Ann is saying, that I mean that's another term used, but is that specific to the same entity type creatures, or is that I don't know.
I mean, scientifically, the best thing that I could find, and I don't know if it would work for them videos, but the best thing I could find that people would describe scientifically would be an upright canine hominid or creature, if you will. Part of it went into lycanthropy and all that, but then again, if you go into that, then you're saying that you believe that there is a transformation. I'm not saying there's not, but I'm saying that I have never seen that. So for me to call it that, I feel like would be, hypocritical for me to call something that I have not seen and do not know that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So here lately, I have went from Dogman on my videos to calling them werewolves. I did notice that when I said werewolf, the natives were more acceptable of that. Um, they weren't like not having that,
Mm-hmm.
but mainly the two words that we spoke about. Well, there was three. There would have been three words. There was three names that we spoke about, and the three names that we spoke about that they was pretty adamant. The first one being the Gugwe. They were very comfortable with Gugwe, and
Mm-hmm.
they were very comfortable. Well, they were comfortable in calling it these names, but they were not comfortable in saying the names, and that was Skinwalker and Shapeshifter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that are some of the things that they were comfortable with. But now, in our world,
Well,
we
and
say Skinwalker
right, I wouldn't consider all of them skinwalkers. They're not.
because you get into the transformation debate again,
Right.
and we don't know that they're actually transforming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what Googway is that the best name? Does that fall?
I guess.
You know,
Um, the Googway would. Yeah, I think it's the fact that it's not a common term that would be used until people start actually using it that way. It's just a matter. It's kind of like the same thing with. I don't like calling them Bigfoot or Sasquatch either. I think that's insulting to them. Um,
I think I don't know. I think we're going to have to look deeper into it because I know that a lot of people get, you know, they don't know what certain things are, and then you're not, we want to be able to tell the truth and to put, as much facts with what we're talking about as we can with facts. Shirley says, "Do you think they were scientifically created?" The dog man. No. Um, Personally, I don't. I believe they are all part of the corruption of the seed. Now, do I believe that the government may have caught some of these and they have altered? Yes. But I believe that man pretty much, we're going to get deep right off, I think. I think man pretty much falls under the same rules as what Lucifer fell under. We don't have the ability to create, we only have the ability to change what's already here.
mhm,
Um, so we wouldn't be able to create a dog man, but we may be able to corrupt it more to make it worse, maybe than what it is. Like take him and maybe share him with a a wolf or a bear. But then you get into the theory of the super soldier theory, right?
right. Which, yeah, that kind of goes into some of this topic tonight too, and what I kind of believe and think is going on.
And Sig, it's going to dance kind of all around Genesis a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight, and then we're going to have a lot of theories that we're going to throw in, because I think that it's important to share with a lot of people what we believe we are encountering out there. I mean, yeah, it's exciting to watch, but I think it's even more exciting to be able to put the action with text to show that it's happening as it said. Uh,
And to understand how they are all connected and how it's all meshed together through that web.
yeah, it's just one web.
Hmm.
Um, you know, even when I spoke with Brooks, that was her thing. Was she said it was a spider web? You know, you have Satan in the middle, and then it all branches out. And I would agree. The middle starts the corruption,
Hmm.
the fall of Satan. You know, when he was kicked out of heaven. But you know, even we look back and then we for instance, when you start talking about the Watchers, and when you're talking about the Watchers, you start wondering, and they we know that they took women, and we know that the women had offspring from the Watchers, which would have been the fallen angels.
Right.
I think one of the big questions I've had is, did they actually have sex, or was it in the same way as when Jesus impregnated Mary? What,
Well,
you know,
all of the texts that I had been reading were all pretty much the same as they took them for wives. And in the old biblical texts, for anyone to be taken as a wife would be for them to have coitus and procreate that way. So in my readings through all of the different texts, that is how I took it. Now, is that the same going forward as far as after the flood? I don't think so. I think there was manipulation with the DNA afterwards, but in the beginning, that is what I took all of those texts to read.
right? And I have a theory when we get to after the flood too, and I think you pretty much know my theory on that, but I'll tell everybody my theory. Um, and you know, another thing I wondered is, did they take them for the sex, or did they take them because they knew that the Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, would be born, and they were trying to corrupt the seed, the war of the seed? They knew, well, they thought that if they could corrupt that seed, you know, I mean, if you look back in the days of Noah, whenever it came down to the flood, Noah him and his family were the only clean blood left.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
if all the seeds were getting destroyed like that, all the corruption and you know we theorize from text that when the Nephilim were born of the women and the Watchers were here, that it says the sons of God. Okay, it says the fallen angels called sons of God, Ben Elohim, in Genesis, were taking women called the daughters of men for sexual relationships.
Hmm.
The result of these unions were grotesque beings scriptures called the Nephilim. The Nephilim were giants, and they were people who were grossly distorted by their unnatural origins. And that comes from the book of Enoch. And I want to talk about the book of Enoch in just a second to um, well, I'm going to go ahead and clarify. The book of Enoch is not considered, uh, it's not in
Yeah.
the canons.
Yeah.
It's considered important information, but they have also found things that were not true that contradicted, so it didn't make it. But nonetheless, all scholars do agree that there is important information in the first book of Enoch. Now, I have seen arguments where the second and third book of Enoch, most scholars say throw them out. They say that they are way off. I don't know. I've never read them. That's just what I read today. That's just what I've read. I have not read them. So, you have any knowledge on that?
I have read through the other two, yes. Um, in the third book, it talks more along the lines of Enoch himself and um, I can't remember who it was who had the vision of the dream, and he went and he spoke with Enoch in one of the levels of heaven. And it talks about how even the angels were upset with Enoch for being there. So it goes into a little bit more in depth of other things, not necessarily um, the fallen angels so much, but just that there was some discord between human and angels, and in regards to where they thought they fell on the status of special treatment, I
Uh huh.
guess you'd say. So,
You know, and it talks about when the women became impregnated, then they gave birth to
bless you.
Kaylee, to the Nephilim, and then the Nephilim came upon the earth. Okay,
Hmm.
whenever the Nephilim came upon the earth, they were they were huge. I mean,
Hmm.
we're talking huge men, women, and they would start consuming everything, all the animals, all the the vegetation. Humans were getting pushed pretty much to the bottom of the the pecking order. We were not the top of the order. We were at the bottom, and we were running out of food, and they was running out of things to eat. But then, not only that, the the sins were so bad at that time. And again, guys, this is theoretical off of what I read, and it's an interpretation that not only were there people having adultery with each other, but they were also men with men, women with women, and then men with beast and women with beast. This wasn't just the humans; it was spreading all through everything, and it was getting to the point to where it even makes me wonder what was Noah and his family even thinking, looking out and seeing that you're really the only species of your own. Everything else was tainted.
Yeah, it
Have you
was a lot of weight on their shoulders, I would have to say. I was just looking at Sig 1212. He agrees. He agrees with me.
what is it?
Ham. Ham. Ham is the Canaanite father. That's what we
Right.
had discussed before.
And then
Now, I do have to say something before you go on. Through
uh-huh.
reading the past couple of days, um, I am I through the different texts, I've actually come to the conclusion that with the Watchers, they of course they are still here, they are still among us, but there were Watchers that, and this goes into the fallen. So there were Watchers that fell, and there were Watchers that didn't fall. And in the term for the fallen, it wasn't necessarily that they fell from heaven, they fell out of God's favor. They fell out of his good graces and favor. Those were the ones that took the wives of men. There are watchers that stayed within God's favor, and they are still here among us, still watching over us and protecting. But then there are the ones that have created that pact with Satan and have continued to try and corrupt that line.
And don't it go on to say that the ones that did have the sexual relations with the women, they're in Tartarus, locked up until judgment, right?
Yes.
The ones that then the sexual acts with the women.
Right. Hmm.
Uh, and you know, then it goes into this, and I thought this was really really awesome. It says, "And the women conceiving brought forth giants, whose stature was each 300 cubits. These devoured all of which labor of men produced until it became impossible to feed them." But then, whenever they ran out of stuff to eat, well, it says that they turned themselves again, men, in order to devour them. So, you know, they began eating humans. They started seeing us as a food source.
Yep.
And whenever you start looking at, okay, if you put these two together, and I think this is really, really unique, you got the book of Enoch saying that when they ate everything that men could grow, they ate all the birds and the animals. They started eating us, humans.
Hmm.
But then another thing that I look at and I think is really, 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 really interesting is you go back and you look at what the natives talked about, right? And the natives said, we used to trade with them. They spoke our language. Now, the natives did not call them creatures. They called them the shy tribe. They called them a tribe. They called them cannibals.
Are they talking about the giants or are they talking about the Sabe, the hairy people?
The Sasquatch.
Okay,
The,
because
the,
I
right,
don't think they're the same.
right. Okay, see, so from the Cherokee shamans that I spoke with when I went down to the part of the world with the Wolf Lady, they told me that the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, they recognized all those names, and they said
Uh-huh.
that the reason there became a war between them and the Indians is because when they would trade with them, if they didn't give them enough, or say they had a week, where they went hunting and just didn't get enough hunting, or they would decide to take a few kids, start eating them. And then it went from eating the children to taking the women and raping them and procreating with them. And this is where it gets really weird. They said that whenever the Bigfoot would have the babies from, the raping of the native women, those babies weren't accepted into the Sasquatch clan. They were kicked out because they were different. They weren't strong. They weren't as strong. They weren't as big. So my question is that the feral people?
I don't know much about feral people.
I mean, if they're kicking them out, they have to go somewhere. But then it makes you wonder why would they even do that if they wasn't
Right.
going to accept them, or was it
Right.
because they were in the mood
Just
and
angry. Well, I mean, it's okay. Now you're getting into a whole nother. Maybe you should have put a disclaimer on tonight's show. You
okay, go
have
ahead.
children. You have children. You might not want them here tonight to listen. Um,
Yeah, this is adult content tonight. So if you have
yeah.
children in the room or anyone that you don't want to listen to this content, go ahead and remove them because it's probably not going to be appropriate. But we do have on our YouTube channel, it is listed as not for kids and adult content only. I do have that on tonight, so we're covered by that.
Okay. So getting into what you're talking about, rape is not something that is looked at as necessarily for procreation. Throughout history, um, that is what clans and cultures have done to um, show their dominance and take over and spread their seed, and basically whether it be to corrupt or to spread their lineage through other cultures and make it unclean or however. I mean, if you look at the Vikings, um, the Romans, I mean, they all went. and pillaged and plundered and raped and took for them the wives and impregnated them, and it wasn't a thing of necessarily procreation. It was for dominance, control, and fear. So
And,
I would equate that to the exact same thing with the Sasquatch when they become angry and not getting their way, why they were doing such things.
and we see that in the animal kingdom.
Mhm.
Male animals doing that to each other for
Mhm.
dominance. It's a dominance.
Yes.
Uh, um, yeah, and like what Sig 1212 said, your opinion, agree to disagree. We're not going to all agree on the same thing here, but I
Mhm.
think it's important that we put it out there and we listen to each other's ideas, because I think I just told Jesse like 3 days ago when I was studying all this. I said, I think I might have just changed one of my theories,
Well,
because the more we dig, the more we learn. Things are not always as they appear at first until we keep diving deeper and deeper and deeper. So yeah, but that's the good thing about the abnormal family is we're all very respectful, and we will voice our opinions, and that's what makes us, I think, better than everybody, because we'll find the answers first. Um, so, but I think that connection is interesting. I think it's interesting that the Book of Enoch is supporting what the natives are saying happened too, and
mhm.
I think that's important because we know that Native Americans were not introduced to our God until later, but still yet it's all coinciding.
Mhm.
It's the same. So even though they were not taught our ways, they were still having the same things happen to them that we were having happen to us that was in our holy books, as they call them, our holy books. So
Mhm.
that's really interesting. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Not that people were getting ate, but the way that it coincides. It's like the more and more things that you can find that support an idea, the more and more chance you have of it actual factual. So
Well, and that goes through many other cultures as well. I mean, even if you look at the Greek mythology, it was the same thing, that the abomination and the monsters and such that were the offspring of these higher deities were doing the same thing. You had the cyclops and the giants and all of these other creatures that were attacking and eating us humans and also procreating with us as well. So it doesn't matter what culture or religion or foundation that through history, even with Noah and the flood, it all matches. The stories might slightly be different, but just like you said, passed down through history. I think through native cultures, though, we have a better idea because being so guarded and passing on that information and not having the corruption from outside civilization and outside societies. I think, like for you, you have the best opportunity to learn that history, whereas even like Greek mythology, yeah, it might have been passed on through ages, but it has been corrupted through history books and such too.
right, and a lot of people say, well, the Bible borrowed from this story, or and for a while that bothered me. I studied that really hard because I was an investigator. That's what I did. I investigated facts. And you know me. You know that I don't stop till I find what I believe to at least be a good theory. You know that I don't stop on something
Hmm.
until I can at least satisfy a little. But you know, I don't know. You look back and people say, "Well, that was borrowed," but yeah, it wasn't borrowed. And I think I agree with what I had found. The the Christians had passed on knowledge a long time by word of mouth,
Hmm.
to where other things and other cultures were written with symbols and letters. Ours was here first, but ours may not have been written first. And I think that what happened is the demons that were here, the Watchers, whatever you want to, however, um, they took that opportunity to again try to deceive the humans. They said, "Hey, they're going to write a book someday. It's going to be a Bible. But if we can hurry up and beat them to that book, and we can corrupt it, and we can pervert it, and we can make our own gods, and we can make the humans worship us. We can be their gods. We're the Anunnakis, and we're going to be their gods. And if we put enough corruption out there, then we can steer people in the wrong way. Because later on, people are going to say, well, they borrowed from that. That was told a long time ago. There was already a Zeus, that was born, or that Hercules was born from, the son of Zeus. But
Mm-hmm.
what people wasn't looking at is the word of God was here before all that. It just was not in text.
Right.
And so if you put it that way, then you can go back and you can show they stole from us and done exactly what God said. They pervert the word.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it all falls to me within that. That's how I looked at it, and that's how I was able to come to peace with it. It's because we know that He is the perversion of all that is good, and it's His job to mislead us and to confuse us and to give us fear. And so, as long as He could do that, and I don't believe they can read our mind because God says that He's the only one that can read our mind. But I do think they have a good idea of things, not necessarily with your mind, but things that are to come. They have an idea, maybe a generalization, and they're around us enough, and they watch us because they are called familiar spirits for a reason. They're called the Watchers for a reason. They watch and they mimic,
Mm-hmm.
and their job is to deceive us. Um, we talked about on the boots on the ground, and it's really sad to think about. Are the voices that we're hearing down there that night, was that something from the past? Was they mimicking or playing out something that had happened? Now I know there has been people down there that have lost their lives. I have a friend that was on the search and rescue that's found children down there. It does happen down there. It happens every year. Somebody loses their life down there every year. Somewhere on that, somebody loses their life. Um, that's I don't know, but I think we have to be careful of deception as we go through when you're trying to find the answers, especially in this cryptic field. I'm not going to say no names or do any bashing, but just from what I've set back and what I've seen, it's sending people down the wrong path. And it's not because people are dumb, it's because people are ignorant. They don't know and they take advantage of that. And I don't want to be the one at the end to be the one that led somebody astray. So that's why I'm telling you all, read it for yourself. Go find the answers for yourself. We're just having a discussion tonight. Um, this is our theories, our opinions, and at the end of the night, we'll give you all an opportunity to come on with me and Jesse and ask us questions, and we can talk about it, have a little talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
moving along, it also talks about not only, and I think this is pretty neat. Not only were the women given, but they also began to do things. And I'm just saying things so we don't get kicked off here tonight, but you'll get what I'm saying. They were also starting to do things to the birds, the beasts of the field, the reptiles, and the fishes. And they would also to eat their flesh one after another and to drink their blood. So that can also take you back vampires.
Hmm.
I spoke to a guy that was very adamant that vampires exist. He said they're not like you see in the movies. It's not the sunlight doesn't, kill them, and but there is people out there that are able. Only certain people. This is what I was told. I'm not saying it's true, but there were certain people from a certain bloodline that had the unique ability to be able to absorb nutrients from human blood and to be able to survive on it to where other people couldn't do that. What do you all in chat think? Do you think it's possible that there's vampires out there, people that have this ability to be able to absorb blood better than anybody else? Is there that vampire? There's a guy on TikTok going around right now that they're saying he grows his fangs right in front of everybody. So is that true? One for yes and two for no, or yes and no. That's better, Romans. You got a better idea.
And unfortunately, I think that it's so romanticized through stories and books and Hollywood. It's not. I mean, yeah, I fell into it. I mean, one of my favorite TV shows was the originals. I loved that show, and looking back on it now, it's like, yeah, it's kind of disturbing. It's really disturbing.
I'll admit, I like vampire movies. 28 Days Later, Interview with the Vampire. Um,
I
I've
like Anne
watched,
Rice too.
and there's vampires make good movies and make good series.
Yeah,
Um, what was that little love story vampire movie that came out?
Twilight.
Oh yes, Kaylee was all into Twilight. And it was a huge hit. Everybody was into Twilight, into Twilight. And it was okay. I watched it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a terrible movie. Um, I didn't mind it. So, what do you think, Jesse? Is there vampires not as what the movies portray, but is there that lineage of blood people that are able to do that?
I, from everything that I have learned over the last couple decades, I don't doubt it. Do I think that they're anything like what Hollywood or books perceive them as? No. I don't think they can necessarily create through biting another person or,
Right.
but is it possible? I mean, you look at bloodlines throughout history, and it's always something that is held so close to certain family lines not to taint or alter the bloodlines. I mean, look at the royals and other rulers. Even if you look at our politicians, a lot of them are all descendants from original bloodlines. So is it possible that there is something to do with, yeah, this bloodline of vampires that are able to digest and absorb? Um, I wouldn't doubt it.
Bloodlines are spoke a lot about even today in people of high positions.
Hmm.
And I know that we can't go real deep into that, but there is a bloodline and there is a certain secret society
Hmm.
that pretty much everybody, I mean, they were talking the other night about something, and we're going to get right back to this. I'm getting kind of my ADD kicking in, but they were talking about the other night about Michael Jordan. I'm not going to say a lot on it. I'm going to say two things, and y'all go look it up. Satan was the prince of the air. Air Jordan. Air Jordan called himself the Black Jesus. Go look it up and look what all they say on that. It's an interesting read. I'm not saying that I believe either way, but I do think that it is very interesting some of the theories they have, if they talk about. It's. It goes really deep. They even go and talk about his dad.
Yeah, I've read some things about that, and I don't know how much of it is true or fabricated, but um, are you talking in lines of why his father passed?
Yeah,
And yep, yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
know. I don't know about that either.
It's a common thing that I've heard through many many different celebrity stories.
Right.
Yes, Sig 1212.
uh, then the Book of Enoch also says that Satan instigated the unions in an attempt to corrupt the human race and to stop God's plan to bring forth the Messiah.
Hmm.
Uh, there arose so much godliness that mankind committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in their ways. Not only did the fallen angels corrupt the human genome, they corrupted the animals as well. And they began to sin against birds and against animals and against reptiles and against fish. Verse 7.5. The fallen angels created hybrid creatures. These creatures were part human, bird, fish, and mammal. Read that again. The fallen angels created hybrid creatures. These creatures were part human, bird, fish, and mammal.
Hmm. Now keep in mind again where my thought process and my belief based on the readings is that not all watchers were fallen. So,
It gives a number, and I was actually going to ask you about that. That's actually on my notepad. It says 200 is
hmm,
the number. I have come to accept that with what I found last night investigating.
okay. I'm intrigued. What did you find?
We'll get to it in just a second. I'm going to get I'm going to get confused. Uh, uh,
Oh, Randy finally made it. Welcome, Randy.
hey, Randy, good to see you. Um, the corruption it says in the abomination was then created that all were an abomination and their children. None of them have a chance, and that's also uh, in the regular book too, the Bible. So Enoch is backing there. You have a where they're backing each other.
Hmm.
Uh, and then it goes on to say, and this is what's scary when you're out there hunting them, and why I say you should not be out there alone hunting these things. You can see how much hate they have for us, and that is why I do believe them to be dangerous. I mean, if God says they are not good enough, who are we to say they are good? The Nephilim then started eating everything and enslaving humans. So they were actually enslaving us also. So humans were going through a whole lot of torture with these creatures.
Hmm.
There would have been possibly all kinds of scary things, running around on the earth. I mean, what were they seeing?
Well, and who's to say that? I mean, even if you look at the Egyptian lines, the deities and the gods that they worshipped, the rulers were supposed to be of the same bloodline of these deities, which were, I mean, if you look at any of the hieroglyphics, they are bird, human, um, dog, human. I mean, they have all different sorts of hybrid lines, just like you were speaking of. And I mean, we all know that they also enslaved God's people and used them for whatever devices they needed to have done. And that was most likely all across the world. So it doesn't surprise me. Um, but now I lost my train of thought.
I do that too. And and that's where it goes on, and it says that there were 200 watchers entered through Mount Harmon. The Catholics consider that a sacred place. Now, if you go back and you look at mythology, they would try to make you believe that it was Mount Olympus,
Right.
but it is believed through the scholars that it was Mount Harmon is where they entered, and there was 200 that entered through there.
Hmm.
Uh, the Catholics have a telescope on the top of a mountain, and the nickname of that telescope is Lucy. A lot of people say that it was after Lucifer, Luciferian, but there's something up there that they're looking for, or maybe not looking for.
Well, and why is the Vatican invested in this telescope?
Right. And if you read about it, it's like a state of the art telescope. It's
Oh,
like
oh yeah.
and it's positioned in the most, they said, the most perfect spot that it could be to watch space. It's in the highest, the darkest, the ozone's the clearest. I mean, everything is perfect for where this thing is placed.
Yep.
So, what we could even go back and say, what if they're not looking for something? What are they watching?
Right.
Or are they already watching something?
My guess is they're already watching or watching for something that is, again, why is the Vatican so invested in space like they are that it doesn't seem, I mean, the Vatican is probably the wealthiest of all groups and organizations on this world. But again, why are they so vested in space? That would be my big question.
Right.
There's
What are
something
they
out
watching
there.
for?
Yeah.
Sarah says they're watching for something to come.
Mhm. Something.
Something. Um, we talked about what you just asked me about the 200 watchers. Uh, there's a little country called Kazakhstan. Inside Kazakhstan, there is a city named Astana, Astana. And if you've watched the movie, that's where Borat comes from.
I haven't seen
Uh,
that movie.
okay, well, in the movie of Borat, it is portrayed as a very poor, ran down city. Like, you would not want to go there. In reality, it is a very rich city, a very beautiful city. Um, One of the things about that city is they have a pyramid, and in the top of that pyramid is a secret room that holds 200 chairs. Okay, where the 200 chairs are at, there is also exactly in the middle of the seats is where the ley lines cross in the middle of the room. Around the world, there is approximately 200 impact sites. There's 200 fallen angels. I seen him fall from the heavens as a streak of lightning. I'm not saying anything, I'm just putting it out there. Y'all probably know what I'm saying. In this town of Astana, they have a portal, a huge built portal in their city.
What kind of a portal?
It's a big round portal that they've made. A lot of people said that they made it because they say that Christ will return through it.
Mm,
Pretty sacrilegious, um, blasphemous. But another thing that's really important too is we know that Lucifer was called the light bearer, right?
hmm.
Well, in Astana, they have a huge torch in that city, a beautiful torch, and it's right beside an Easter egg. Go look up the god of Easter and put that together with the torch. Um, I'll give you the name. The name of the god is Ishtar. Uh, Ishtar in English is pronounced Easter.
Hmm.
Um, the portal has also been used in Astana for summoning.
Summoning. What are they summoning?
Doesn't say. They just use it for different summonings. In Islam, Astana, the name of the city, this is really, really, I think, interesting. It means entrance, an opening. I believe personally that the Anunnaki and the fallen angels are the same.
Mm-hmm.
I do not believe what another person believes, that they are the creators of us. And that's all a deception. It's a smoke screen. They wanted to be worshipped. I think they probably built the pyramids as a place to be worshipped. And they called themselves whatever, we're the Anunnaki. We're from another planet. We come here. I mean, we come here to steal your gold. Okay. We can travel light years and we're going to come to your planet just to steal your gold.
Well, the gold was used for, and this is, I mean, based on current information and theory, but the gold was used for plating the pyramids. And the pyramids were actually energy sources, much like Tesla's energy tower. So, could they have been using these for means of other things? I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you just talked about the Tesla energy towers because Astana happens to have two of them
Oh.
right by the 200 seated pyramid, right by
Ah,
right by the torch, and right by the Easter egg.
I don't believe in coincidences.
I don't either. But also, we know that these fallen angels, they taught us forbidden arts, and some of the forbidden arts that they taught us were how to make knives, how
Hmm.
to make swords, how to
Hmm.
make shields, and how to devise ornaments and of cosmetics. And the definition of that is the use of weapons and how to use them and to make killing blows. Um,
Hmm.
they also taught us astronomy, along with other things, how to use plants, women to wear makeup, and a lot of things like that that they came and was teaching. Now, all the women are wiping their makeup off right now. No, but if you think about it, okay, here's something I want you to think about, and this is where the audience gets to participate. Tell me what you think about this. I read this the other day. So we know that whenever Jesus cast the demons out, they begged to go into the swine. The swine ran off the bluff into the ocean or the sea and killed themselves.
Right.
Okay, so here's the theory that I read, and this was from a biblical scholar. What if the reason for them begging to go into the pigs was number one, we know they don't like to be disembodied, but what if they wanted to go into the pigs because they knew that they could destroy the pigs, kill them, run them into the sea, and then they could become part of the sea? And the reason that people say that they say that whenever Jesus cast Satan out, he said, "You are, the prince of the land, and beware the sea, right? So the
Mhm.
sea, they believe, because when they're cast into the dry places, they find no rest. But do they find rest in the sea? Okay. And that's what he was talking about. Is that why we have the underwater city of Atlantis? Is that why we have all these things under the ocean? Is because that's where these things are, these mermaids and everything. And if you look at every culture, every religion, they have a water god.
Mhm.
Every religion,
Well,
they have a water.
well, every religion and mythology has a deity of some sort for whether it be the underworld, the earth, the sky, the water, plants. I mean, but yeah.
And then you start looking at this, because my mind really started working when I read that. And you look at this and you think about this. One of the main things that Mr. I'll probably say his name wrong, Mr. Politis says that water is part of the things to go people to go missing.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you think about this, and it's the first thing I thought about. Whenever I had Travis Carpenter on my show, he said his dad had wet footprints that went across the kitchen.
Yeah.
What does water have to do with it?
The When I think of, now this might be off and might not be right, but when I think of water, I think of it being a conductor. It is a it is probably the absolute best conductor of all energy forms. So that would be, but again, that's my mechanical mind through my schooling and everything else too, with energy and transfer of energy, and whether it be spiritual energy or physical energy here on earth, that's where my mind goes to.
Water also, I was thinking about this. Water has so many different forms it can take: solid, liquid, gas.
Hmm.
Solid, when you think about it, water doesn't have a definite shape.
Hmm.
It contours to wherever it's at. And God, I just thought of this. What do y'all think about this? Is one of the reasons that the demons would rather possess our bodies than an animal's bodies because our bodies are 70% water?
Uh, Now that go, I think that they would rather possess our bodies because of ultimately the corruption and corrupting our souls.
Right? It would be a slap in God's face to possess us, but also maybe that's another thing that they like. I don't know. I
Yeah.
always afraid of say Mr. Mars says water is an amplifier and a catalyst.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, it really got me thinking the other night. Whenever I ran across that, I was like, yeah, that's pretty interesting. But then this is the part that I was glad that I found, because I have thought about this for a while. I think me and you spoke a little bit about this.
Maybe.
The creatures that we're dealing with in today's world, and what
Hmm.
we're talking about right now is the cryptids, the flesh and blood cryptids.
Hmm.
Um, what we're dealing with, I don't think it's wrong to call them Nephilim, but I think that there is a better name for them. And when I caught that EVP, we talked about that. When it
Yeah.
said, "You don't even know what I am," I didn't know then what I know now because I just recently found the information. When the Nephilim had children, those children were not called Nephilim, they were called Ilod.
Hmm.
They had 6 fingers, some had 10, some had 12.
Hmm.
So During the flood, everything outside of the ark died except for Noah, his sons, and the wives. And it says there were Nephilim before the flood, and then there were Nephilim after the flood.
Hmm.
I don't think what we're dealing with after the flood is the same Nephilim that was before the flood. I think we're in the Ilod of it, the watered down Nephilim still has the DNA, the bloodline, the lineage,
Right.
but you don't have 30, 40-foot giants. You have 10, 12, and 15-foot giants, Goliath, his brothers. So you have the watered down, they're the Iliad, and then whenever you get down to that, that would be what I think today's cryptids. It would be your Iliad line, the more watered down. Uh, because the how did that bloodline survive? Well, everything tells us from what we know is that it would have had to be on the boat, right? Everything outside of the boat perished.
Well, but again, the Nephilim were the offspring of the fallen. The
Right.
angels, the fallen angels didn't perish.
No.
And again, depending on what translation you're reading, some of the translations state that there were Nephilim on the earth in those days and after, and some of the translations read there were Nephilim in the earth in those days and after. So is it in or on?
I think it was both.
And if they were in, could they have survived under the earth, underground, through the cave systems?
I wouldn't think so because he said everything outside of the ark perished.
But yet it states that there were Nephilim then and after.
Right. Is it possible that one of Noah's sons' wives carried the corrupted blood?
It's possible. And again, I believe that the corruption was through Ham and his bloodline. So maybe it was through his wife and through his jealousy and hatred towards his brothers that corruption line went through and followed through. It could be, but that would be my guess. If it was any of them, it probably would have been
Well,
him and his wife.
and Cain committed the first murder,
Hmm.
the first murder of the new world.
And like I think it was Sig that said earlier, Ham was the father of the Canaanites.
So it almost sounds like it's plausible that one of the women was corrupted.
Hmm.
But then you have to think if one of the women was corrupted, had she fell into the same sin everybody else had, and had she had an affair on Noah's son?
No, but where did the wives come from? And if you look at the lineage, they came from. I mean, some of them did come from Cain's line.
Right.
So it wouldn't necessarily be her that would have had an affair. It would have been somewhere down the line through her genealogy that the affair would have, that the corruption of the DNA would have taken place.
Right. Right. That's interesting. Uh, yeah, they're saying the chat froze. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't have any control over that. That's
I was just making sure.
yeah, YouTube. It just now moved. Did yours just now move?
No.
Or does anybody else have a frozen chat? Do you have a frozen chat?
I have chat up and I'm seeing it. It's moving.
Okay, my chat's frozen actually right now on my computer.
See,
The last the last thing I see is Randy Petticourt said,
yep,
"Fresh the video,
yep, that's what I'm seeing.
fresh the video." You don't. It's just what he was saying. Now it just moved. I see Lisa Ann said mine's moving, so
Hmm.
could be one of those YouTube deals. I mean, we are talking about. Let me see your phone. We are talking about things that are not popular right now.
Yeah.
Uh, there you go. It's just frustrating that they do that, and other people can get on and cuss you and f you and spread lies and rumors and everything else, and you come on here and you try to talk truth, and but I guess that's just the time that we're living in right now. But
Yep.
that time is drawing short too, because I heard a rumor today that there's a really big movie coming out that's going to be bigger than any of them, and there's a man that thinks that he's really innocent right now. It's going to be exposed, but I don't have anything to do with that. That's all on them. This channel will stay clear of that as long as I can, but I hear it's going to be a big video. A lot of people are being brought out by recordings and everything. So,
Hmm.
yep, I'm sure I'll watch
That,
it. I'm not
that'll
promoting it,
be
but
that'll be a good one.
I think it'll be real good.
Hmm.
As long as it's the truth, put the
Right.
truth out. That's what I say. Put the truth out.
Keep
Um,
truthing.
that's it. Keep truthing. But that's kind of what I think we're dealing with down there. I think that you're probably right to say both. I mean, if you get technical, Nephilim, Ilod, it's. But to me, researching it and hunting it, I like to know the difference. I like to know that what exactly I am dealing with, or what you're possibly dealing with. I think it makes it a little more, I like to be informed. Like last night, I think it was last night, me and Sarah was on that boots on the ground. I took the flashlight and I turned the strobe on and I'm like aiming it up into the darkness. And the next thing you know, this like ball thing goes. I was like, what in the world was that? I have no idea, but I've seen it once before. I've seen it go over Sarah's house before. So I'm not sure what that was.
I told you, I gotta be careful doing that, shining those lights up into the sky like that.
I've heard that's a bad thing to do. It draws things in.
Yeah, it's part of the CE5 thing. Yeah, don't want to do
I'll have to
that.
look. I'll have to look more into that. Does anybody at this point want to come on the show, ask any questions, give an encounter, talk about something, even just to make a statement? If you'd like to give your opinion, would anybody like to come on and do that? If you would, just post in the chat that just I have something to say. Put it capital letters. Um, our moderators will catch it and get our attention.
I like Sig 1212. Cryptids aren't PC, neither should we be.
Right. You know, Carolyn's with you on that.
Yep,
But yeah,
told
I
you.
think
See, Sarah, told you.
we're finding a lot of things right now, and I think we're doing really good right now as far as finding things on our investigations. I'm not seeing a lot of people finding what we're finding.
No.
Um, I was told today another person found us, and they said that they hadn't heard about us. They'd been watching other channels, but when they came over here, they were like, "Man, y'all are finding a lot more than anybody else." And the weird thing is, they have experienced some of the same things that we're actually getting. So they were very, very interested. So that was really cool.
Hmm. Now,
That's
again,
it.
my own personal opinion, I don't think all of the things that you are getting are necessarily, um, I say, evil or bad. Um, some of them are very not good, evil, bad. But I don't think all of the things that you are countering out there are necessarily malicious, I should say.
So you think some of them could be angels?
Um, not well, I do believe from based on some of the things that have been caught while you were out there that there are guardians out there watching over you. Um, Otherwise, there would be no reason for them to warn you about things like watching your steps so you don't fall or um, trying to give you the heads up that there's something ahead, which has been caught several times through whether they're the EVPs or whether you and Sarah are actually hearing them. But that that I think is separate from some of the physical type beings that are out there that are just out there watching you. I think they're not necessarily malicious either. So when you're going out there, you have a smorgasbord of things that you are encountering, whether they are guardian angels, demonic, um, vindictive or malicious beings that are growling at you, or non malicious. Um, Based on, I mean, just the last few months alone.
And that's where I believe that a little different. I think they're all pretty much evil. Uh, I'm an equal opportunist. If I see any of them coming toward me, they have a good chance of leaving, holier than when I found them.
Well,
But
yeah, if something's coming after you, that's a little bit different. But I don't think, I mean, how else would you explain the the voices that are trying to protect you?
it makes me wonder if they're possible familiar spirits or they're trying to deceive me into to trust.
Because I recall other stories that you have stated that has led me to believe otherwise.
Now I do believe that there is angel encounters. I do believe that, um, but I think that anything mostly that you're going to run into out there that's going to be a cryptid, I don't believe is our friend.
No, but
Um,
that's not saying that you aren't being protected by some guardian angel.
oh no, I believe we have guardian angels. I do believe that. I think that when we go out there, especially in the places that we've been going, it's getting more and more dangerous. I
Hmm.
can feel that it's getting heavier. The air is heavier. The atmosphere is heavier. When Sarah and I agree, when we show up somewhere, it's not that sense of ready to explore. It's that sense of I'm not supposed to be here feeling, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger each time. Um,
Well, and here's a thought for you. So, in researching through different mythology and um, the deities, one of the things that gives or gave the gods, little gods of old power was the worshiping or the acknowledgement and the following, which was why it was so important for them to go and go and to the temples and give their tribute, should say, to each of the individual little gods, deities, because by acknowledging them, you're giving them the power. So in modern times, looking back, um, based on that knowledge, by you continuing to go out there and giving them the attention that you have been giving them, you are ultimately feeding them into this power, this energy. If Does that make sense what I'm trying, I'm not sure if I'm getting it completely across or what I'm trying to say, but by continuing to go on a regular basis, they know that you're going there. You are kind of feeding into what they're looking for and
Right.
that power.
And that's what we're looking at right now is changing up areas a little bit and giving that area a break.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if it's going to matter or not, but we've talked about trying that. Well, thank you very much, Janet. I don't guess anybody wants to come on tonight. I figured we might have somebody want to jump on tonight that would have an opinion over this.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody's pretty quiet. Um, yeah, it looks like it's quiet. I don't have any more. I just wanted to put that out there a little bit, kind of let people know my mindset, kind of what I think, what I'm looking for. Sunday should be a pretty neat night. It should be a pretty cool boots on the ground. Sarah got a new flashlight from Pam, so I'm sure she'll be trying that out.
Tulpas. I've heard of the reference of tulpas, but it doesn't come to mind at the moment. I'll have to look.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
I've heard of tulpas, but I'm not quite sure. I'll have to, yeah.
You won't be laughed at, Janet. You can come on if you would like to come on. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we might laugh with you, but we're not going to laugh at you. I mean, everybody has their own, If you would
Yeah,
like to come
Janet.
on, Janet, let us
Jan-
know, and I'll drop you a link. You'll probably have to download StreamYard. I think though. I think you do have to download it real quick, but it's simple.
yes, Janet. I would love to hear your opinion and story or whatever you have to say. Please, please, please.
Randy, will listen. I'm looking forward to Sunday night. Actually,
Sunday. Oh, boots on the ground.
yeah. And our breakdowns. I asked people if they wanted us to continue them, and they said yeah. So we'll see how that continues to do.
Well, I'm going out Friday, so hopefully it's not too cold like you and Sarah had to deal with. I don't even know what the temperature is going to be like here.
I don't know. It wasn't real bad here. It was cool. Everybody's back begging Janet.
45 on Friday. Back to the cold weather.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Hmm. Saturday rain, so Friday's a good day. No rain Friday.
I think Janet is going to pass us by this time.
Aw, Janet, I'm sorry.
But it is hard for people to come out with things like that because people are so judgmental.
We're not judgmental here.
If she wants me to drop the link, I could drop the link here. I'll go ahead and throw it out there just in case there's somebody else in there that,
Okay.
that wants to maybe come on and share something. Or
She said last week she heard some banging noises. Sounded like someone was building. Was this at home, Janet? You should come on. You should tell us.
you might have a friend and don't know it.
You should come on. You should tell us.
Let's see here. I think I have it already ready. There it is.
She she says I'm okay.
There is the link. If anybody would like to jump on, just jump on the link. I'll see you come on backstage, and then I'll put you up to the front if you would like to come on. She said it happened at her mother's house.
Mm.
So I just thought it was important to talk a little bit about what I thought was out there. What I was looking for. What these EVPs. I'm hoping. And I know it's going to sound crazy, but I'm actually hoping to get away from the EVPs and to get more into the cryptids, more into the calls and the howls and the whistles. And I'm not. I don't know. I'm just. The EVPs, I know what they are. They're demons, and it's like I don't need to try to figure them out. I'm more interested in what's walking out there.
Yeah, but again, I think they go hand in hand. And I think because those, I think that it's all in all, it's just a hotspot area, the whole area around Bayou. Um,
Oh yeah, I mean we could
and
go out tonight, no doubt, and probably at least catch something.
right, but I mean, even like the lights in the sky too. You've
Right.
been seeing more and more of those too. So it'll probably, the more you go out there, you'll end up drawing in more cryptids as well.
That's what we used to have more of, and all of a sudden this happens. So I'm hoping to transition out of this and then back to the way it used to be down here, where we had the cryptids.
But
That's the goal.
there's also, I mean, I have a theory as to why you're getting more of these right now, anyways.
I hope they move on and leave the flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. It don't look like anybody wants to jump on, and if you want to say anything, I'll let you say what you want to say, and then I'll walk us out of this one.
No, just thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for the well wishes for my new job. Yay! Um, keep truthing and happy birthday again, Hunter.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight for supporting us. Don't forget Sunday night. We're going to go out at 6 o'clock p.m. Boots on the ground. The sun's going down earlier, so it's darker a lot quicker. We'll see how that goes. If it doesn't go good, we'll go back to the later night. Just trying to see what's working. But again, Hunter, happy birthday to you, buddy. I love you so much. I miss you so much. We got a lot of making up to do. Your channel, Hunter, is doing really good. Wide Open Adventures. Your channel's really rocking. We'll have it probably monetized by the time you come home, and you'll be able to tell me what I've been doing wrong. But everybody, feel free when we end this, everybody, to wish Hunter a happy birthday. Give him some purple hearts. It'll help the algorithm after we close the video down. It'll help push it. But thank you all so very much for being here tonight. And as always, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. We'll see you on the next one. Love you, Hunter. Happy birthday. And I'll see you soon, buddy.